This is where we film the voiceover. This is a breakdown video of the social cuts we made for the Masters. Not for the Masters, but for the events at the Masters. Rory McIlroy, the back-to-back winner, and of Justin Rose. This is the microphone being held up by a water bottle. You don't need much. We're in our garage. It's also really hot, so we're going to step outside.
My thinking about the Grand Slam is this. If Tiger Woods wins this tournament, it'll be the greatest achievement in modern-day golf.
Most people will never smell the azaleas, never hear the pines rumble. They'll watch through a rectangle of light from a couch, a bar, or bare hands, and somehow, Augusta will still find its way inside their soul. Of the 90 Masters contested on this ground, 56 men have worn the green jacket. 18 have worn it more than once, but only 3 have ever put it on 2 years in a row. 3 in 90 years. I guess in order to accomplish such a feat, you must either win in a playoff, or win the Grand Slam, or roar loud enough that not even history could hold you back. For when you get what you want in your struggle for self and the world makes you king for a day, just go to the mirror and look at yourself and see what that man has to say. For it isn't your father, your mother, or wife whose judgment upon you must pass. The fellow whose verdict counts most in your life is the one staring back from the glass. He's the fellow to please, never mind all the rest, for he's with you clear to the end. And when you've passed your most difficult masterful test, if the man in the glass is your friend. 4 days at Augusta and another jacket up in the air. The world wondered if you could do it again, and your response? You're shoulder to shoulder with a tiger, a knight, and a bear.
And let's talk about the videos. Storyline simple, back-to-back champion. But what is another way of saying back-to-back? Well, the company he's now in. Jack Nicklaus, the Golden Bear. Nick Faldo, the Knight. Not technically his nickname, but he was knighted by the Queen in 2008. And then Tiger Woods, obviously the Tiger. So he's now next to them, or shoulder to shoulder with a tiger, a knight, and a bear. So that was the Rory video. The next one was the Rosie video. Rosie was in the lead, making the turn on the back nine, and then eventually finished third. He was second last year, but the thought process behind the Rosie video is rose petals, like the way things fall, and it makes you think of like when you were a kid or whatever age, you're like picking rose petal of like, she loves me not. And in terms of like golf, it loves me not. Like sometimes it just loves you. It just gives you everything that you wish for. And other times it just gives you heartbreak and heartache. So that's the thought process between those two videos. And that's what I was thinking with the Rosie video. So with the Rosie videos, let's break it down kind of line by line. And
makes you do it, right? I mean, I've won and closed out many tournaments. I'll come back next year and give everything, of course.
It loves me not. It loves me not. Someone always has to finish second. I guess that's why there's always a song about heartbreak. Jack finished second 4 times. Hogan 4, Floyd 3, Longer, Mickelson, Spieth. But eventually, they hem their way into history. There's a cruelty Augusta doesn't advertise. She doesn't reject you out loud. She does it quietly. On the back nine on a Sunday in April, when the azaleas are still pretty and everyone's still watching. The lies here tell lies, and maybe that's the test. For there are players Augusta chooses, and there are players Augusta uses, only to make the chosen ones shine brighter. It's a harsh thing to say. It might also be true. It loves me. It loves me not. Did the petals run out eventually? Maybe that's the wrong question. Maybe it was never about how the petals fall. Maybe it's about what begins to grow in place when they land. We look to next year, as we always do. But perhaps what's needed isn't a year away. Perhaps it's already in bloom.
And see what kind of the meanings are behind that. So it starts off with Rosie doing his interview post-Masters. and he's just going to give it his all next year. And he's closed tournaments before, and it just happened not to be his week. Just a super classy response. You wouldn't expect anything less from him. And that's the Open. And then it goes into the history of rose petals. The meaning here is like obviously rose petals, how petals fall or how they can be pulled. Also the meaning of petals, of like the petal that you can push to move forward. So kind of a double meaning there. It loves me not. It loves me not. Ball goes in and the ball doesn't go in, the breaks you get and the breaks you don't get. Even applies outside of the Masters to whatever tournament or just life in general. Someone always has to finish second. I guess that's why there's always a song about heartbreak, and no one likes to lose. So obviously there's feelings there. Jack finished second 4 times, Hogan 4, Floyd 3, Longer, Mickelson, Spieth. Eventually they hem their way into history. So those are those that have finished second in the Masters. And the line here is they eventually hem their way into history, because you get fitted for the jacket. Your jacket gets altered to your specifications and you get to wear it. Also the choice to put Sergio in there. He had a thing that happened on Sunday, and obviously he's a great Masters champion. It was just, lapse in judgment at the time. Emotion got the best of him. He ended up apologizing afterwards. But yeah, that was very selected to put Sergio in this cut. There's a cruelty Augusta doesn't advertise. She doesn't reject you out loud. She does it quietly. On the back 9 on a Sunday in April, when the azaleas are still pretty and everyone's still watching. Yeah, it just happens. You're on the back 9. It's April. You're trying to win the tournament, and you're just in the moment. Augusta doesn't advertise the heartbreak. It advertises the beautiful course, the storylines, but it doesn't tell you what it takes away or just doesn't let you have, right? The lies here tell lies, and maybe that's the test. So where your ball ends up makes you think you might have a chance, and maybe you do and maybe you don't, and that's the test over 72 holes, and specifically the back 9 on Sunday. For there are players Augusta chooses, and there are players Augusta uses, only to make the chosen ones shine brighter. One, Augusta does choose its members that are there, right? I think there are only 3 pro members. I think Crenshaw is one of them, which the selective cut to include Crenshaw. And there's players Augusta uses. Everyone that's part of the championship is used in a sense to make the eventual champion greater, because you have to overcome every single individual that plays in the Masters in order to wear the jacket, to make the chosen ones shine brighter. Very intentional and includes Rosie because he still has another chance next year. He would be the oldest champion if he were to claim the jacket next year. So can't count him out. Do the petals run out eventually? Maybe that's the wrong question. Do we have enough petals? Do we have enough chances? Is this our last chance? It was never about how the petals fall. Maybe it's about what begins to grow in place when they land. Maybe this isn't the end. Maybe once they fall, do new petals grow into place? Do we learn things from there? Also very intentional to include Tiger in here. When you're faced with heartbreak or heartache or things that happen, like, is that really the end, or is it how you react from that? We look to the next year as we always do, but perhaps what's needed isn't a year away. Perhaps it's already in bloom. You still get it done. Maybe it's just not this year, and maybe this is what you need to face in order to have that triumph. So the video ends with him winning his first major. Will he win his first Masters? Is he likely to compete in the U.S. Open coming up in Shinnecock? Perhaps.